Well, welcome back. It is Wednesday, March 24th, 2021. My name's Dan Kaufman, and I serve as Director for Discipleship and Assimilation here at Harris Chapel. And I promised you last week something great. I promised you a discussion with my good friend, Jake Sewell. So Jake is joining us tonight, and we've got an awesome discussion for you. We're going to be talking about a little bit about discipleship as well as home groups, and just a little bit of Jake's testimony as well. So I am so excited for you to get to meet Jake and then also to hear his story. So Jake, if you could, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name's Jake Sewell. I've been married for 6 years now. We have a young son named Blair who is 3. My wife and I met in college at the University of Findlay up in Northwest Ohio. We both kind of migrated back here. This is my home area. And began going to Harris Chapel about a year and a half ago. I think it was in September of 19, and it's been a great journey for us. We've met a lot of friends, and I've really dove into church and all that goes along with it.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said that because, you know, being here for a year and a half, you're already involved in quite a bit of things. What all are you involved in here at the church?
Yeah, we'd been going here a few months, and I actually knew Rick Davis, who helps out with security, just kind of keeping an eye on everything during service. He reached out to me and asked me to help out with that, so I've been doing that for well over a year now. Your home adult group, I guess it's your group.
It's our group.
Our group, that you lead it.
Yeah.
We call it the adult group, and it's a nice mixture of people in their 30s, early 40s, and late 20s. Most of us are all married, have children, so we get together once a month, once every 6 weeks, do a Bible study, have cookouts, just have a lot of fun, do life things together, and really just have a great discussion about where we're at in our lives.
Yeah. And Jake is actually, because of some of these things that we're about to talk about, he has actually stepped up, him and Jill, his wife, to help us lead a new young adult group that we're launching, targeting young adults, recent high school graduates, that sort of thing. So join us in prayer as we're trying to reach those folks as well. But, you know, Jake, one of the reasons why I wanted you to come in here and for us to talk is because one of my favorite things that you've shared with me is kind of your testimony about how, you know, that year and a half ago when you first started coming here, how things kind of started to shape in your life, and how you really, for the, I don't know if it was the first time, but recent times, you started to feel God take a hold of your life and put things in place, put people in place. So how did you come here? How did you find out about this, and what all was going on in your life during that time?
Yeah, our first introduction to Harris Chapel was actually through Pastor Jim. My wife and I had gone to the YMCA in Muncie. There's a 5:15 a.m. spin class we had done, and known Jim for a couple years actually. Didn't even realize he was a pastor, because you meet Jim, he's just high energy, but he doesn't come out and say, "Oh, I'm a pastor." He just wants to talk to you and listen to you. And we found that appealing, loved his energy. And then it was probably February 2019, I got thrown into a really difficult position at my old employer, and throughout that summer I was getting stressed, becoming that business guy I never want to be, working too much, not focused on my health, my family, and actually I just came one day and talked to Jim and just said, "Hey, I'm struggling with some things." We talked, we prayed, and it's the first time you'd ever said something about coming to church. Well, that September, I believe it was Labor Day weekend, was our first service we came to, and just the way things work out, about 3 weeks later, I ended up losing my job unexpectedly, and as a sole breadwinner, it was a scary situation. And but you know what? When I came and talked to Jim, and we talked, and he was just real supportive, and everyone around us was real supportive. And it was really just kind of the timing of us coming to Harris Chapel seemed to align with everything going on in life, and it just grew from there. We really enjoyed the church, the atmosphere, the welcoming people that. Because you're very familiar. You when you come to this church, no one's a stranger, and that's huge. That was really big for us. Really, Blair took to kids' church and just loved coming as well. So it was something we just wanted to maybe make some friends, start going to church again, and it's really became an important part of our life. And it grew and grew. We dove into Scripture more. We dove into coming to church and trying to make every Sunday if we can. More involved in a home group, and it kind of led to us being baptized last September. So it was a year-long journey to get baptized, and it's really the first time that I feel like me and my wife just let our problems to God and let Him help us out. So it's been a great journey. And like I said, now we're working on starting the young adult group. We feel like there's kind of a gap between our group, who's more late 20s, 30s, and youth group, which is up to 18. And that's a big age group where a lot of things can go wrong,
right.
or a lot of mentoring isn't happening. So we're trying to focus on that and get that group going.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks, Jake. I appreciate that. And that's one of my favorite things about discipleship is, it started with you met Pastor Jim, doing cycling or spinning early in the morning. You didn't know anything about him, and it was just that friendly good morning kind of deal that led to a relationship, which led to you guys getting here, which led to you guys growing in a relationship with God, led to you guys getting baptized, and now you're at the other end of that spectrum getting ready to lead. And that's just so incredible. And I want to share this. If you haven't watched our last 9 weeks, actually I guess it'd be 10 weeks now, but where we've been talking about these things about discipleship, we have a working definition of discipleship. And I'm going to read this for you directly off the screen here. It says, a life committed and devoted to growing in Jesus and his teachings while sharing that process with others so that they may come to know and grow in a life with Jesus Christ. So it's that idea of, not only are you experiencing Jesus and you're experiencing all the blessings of God and how God's at work in your life, but now you just want to share that process with others. You want to bring others to know who Jesus is. And I know we've only known each other for about 1.5 years, but I have seen that in you and Jill's life, where it is you've experienced God and now you're like, I've got to share this with other people. I can't keep this to myself. And I think that is, one, that's just such a powerful testimony, but two, I think that's the life we're called to live. And so, if you don't mind, I'll ask you another question. What would you say would be the defining moment where you started to realize, hey, I need this stuff in my life. This is a big part of life, and I need this. What would you say was the key for that?
I had about 3 months between jobs. I had got a severance package, so we were okay. It was just I knew that was going to end, and I like to work and be a productive person of society. And during that time, there was a lot of stress, but I could always come to church. I could always call Pastor Jim. I could call you, and there was just this support that we didn't have before. I mean, our families are great, but outside of our families, we just kind of had a little emptiness. And through that whole process, just learned that there are people out there who want to help you and disciple you and just be really, really supportive. And that's where it kind of went from, hey, let's go to church, to we're part of church now.
Right.
And as that grew, I'm like, I want to help other people do that. And like you said, the home group that we're trying to start. So it's just kind of going through the whole process over the last 1.5 years. It's something I never would have imagined, but I couldn't imagine living without it now.
That's so awesome. I love that, where you just said, it's more than just us, hey, let's go to church, but now it's a part of us. Now we are going to that. And I just love that. And that's some of the things that we've been talking about the last several weeks, is just that taking hold of your heart and just that transformation that happens in somebody's life when God moves like that. And so, Jake, I really appreciate you coming and sharing that with us, and I was excited to share you with everybody that's watching, because we're going to do this, each week. It's probably going to be an every other week thing, where on these Talk With Me Wednesdays, we're going to have 1 week where we study those passages I threw up for you last week. So if you have your Bibles, we're going to be in Mark chapter 16. You'll see the verse here, or the passage here at the end. But that's where we're going to pick up next week, and we'll talk about that. And then the following week, I've got another guest to talk discipleship stuff with you as well. So I hope you guys are enjoying this study as we've moved from this idea of just being a disciple. As Jake, you said it perfect too when you kind of gave it, moving from that idea of being a disciple and experiencing God to making disciples now. So not just keeping that all God's blessings and all those things that you're understanding about God to yourself, but you want to share that process with others so that they come to know and grow in a relationship with Jesus Christ. So I would love to have you guys like this, share this, invite your friends for next week. Like I said, Mark 16, and then the following week we'll have another guest speaker. We'll see you then.